Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Clapback Culture. I am your co-host, Jessie with Converge Media, and I am alongside Mike Davis, who is back. Welcome back, big homie.
Oh, it feels good to be back. But y'all held it down last week.
Yeah, we had a really good show. Shout out to Besa for
Yes.
coming through and holding down your spot. And man, you had such a good special on Writer's Block. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
participated. Shout out to homeboy from South Seattle, Emerald, who had all the audio issues. Poor guy.
Yes, yes. I mean, he fought through though, so I respect him, man. Shout out to Ari.
Listen, it's funny to like be thinking we've been on Zoom for the last 18 months. We've been like on video for the last 18 months, and it still comes with its technical difficulties, man.
No, for sure. But also, I think that I personally kind of take for granted the fact that we do this show all the time. For people who
Mhm.
aren't used to like speaking to an audience, I think that you still get a little nervous. So I think that Ari had a little bit of
Yeah.
that as well.
Man, well, it was good topics, good information. So very proud of you for taking the bull by the horns.
Thank
I
you.
know you did a lot of work to get that done. So
Appreciate that.
good journalism, Mike Davis. Well, look, you are here at Clapback. You know what I'm saying? Your number one thing to do. You know, we want
Yes.
you to give your attention, your love here. So let's tell the people what we talking about. A lot happened this week. It was kind of a slow week, but there was a lot of conversation about President Joe Biden having his face-to-face meeting with President Vladimir Putin at the Geneva summit. So we're going to go over that. And cause for celebration because Juneteenth is now a federal holiday as of today. So we're going to wrap a little bit about that. There is a troll looming the cyber internet, and her name is Deanna Lorraine. She had some fears as it relates to Megan Thee Stallion's new video, Thought Ish. I want to talk about Space Jam 2, the new legacy, the soundtrack, the artist on the soundtrack is now being revealed. And lastly, we're going to close our show with talking about something that's been hitting the news waves quite recently, which is, you know, this critical race theory hitting public schools. So we'll have a conversation about that. So, Mike, let's get started. Let's talk about this meeting with President Biden. It was a meeting of adversaries. You know, what were those key takeaways? President Joe Biden and Russian President Vladimir Putin held their first face-to-face meeting this week in a historic summit in Geneva. Biden basically said the tone of the talks were positive. So let's go ahead, take a look, and we'll come back and talk about it.
I must tell you, the tone of the entire meetings, I guess it was a total of 4 hours, was good, positive. There wasn't any strident action taken.
President Biden and Russian President Putin holding an historic summit. We were there watching it on Squawk as they were getting to the beginning of that meeting. And Eamon Javers joins us right now from Geneva with some of the key takeaways on the other side. Eamon.
You know, Andrew, Joe Biden said it was important to come here and deal face-to-face with Vladimir Putin. He said there's no substitute for those face-to-face meetings. The takeaways here, though, were few in terms of concrete accomplishments. The one thing that they did agree to was to exchange ambassadors again. Remember, those ambassadors had been withdrawn amid the recent tensions, so that is a positive takeaway. They agreed to continue talking on nukes and on cybersecurity, so there's an ongoing dialogue there, no resolution here in Geneva. But there was this really intriguing moment yesterday in which Joe Biden said he hadn't issued any threats to Vladimir Putin on the cybersecurity front, but then he laid out a very detailed scenario about what might happen if the United States decided to embrace its robust cybersecurity capabilities and respond in kind. Here's what he said.
What happens if that ransomware outfit were sitting in Florida or Maine and took action, as I said, on their single lifeline to their economy, oil? It'd be devastating. And they're like, you could see them kind of go, oh, we'd do that, but like, whoa.
So that's Biden saying he didn't issue any threats, but it's sort of like saying, that's an awfully nice pipeline you have there. It'd be a shame if anything happened to it. So clearly Biden suggesting that he laid down the law behind the scenes to Vladimir Putin, trying not to embarrass or humiliate him on the world stage. In fact, treating him like a peer very much on the world stage. Biden says he issued 16 specific areas in terms of cybersecurity and U.S. critical infrastructure that are off limits. And he laid down very specific terms of what would happen if Russian attackers hit those. So that's sort of where the cybersecurity debate stands. For his part, Vladimir Putin said that this was, in fact, a productive meeting.
We don't share the same positions in many areas, but I think that both of these sides showed a willingness to understand one another and to find ways to bring our positions closer together. The talks were quite constructive.
And a fascinating moment at the end, a flash of anger from Joe Biden, and reporter Caitlin Collins of CNN, who asked him how he could be sure, how he could be convinced that Vladimir Putin was going to change his ways in the wake of this. And Biden turned around, snapped back very aggressively and said, look, I'm not convinced of anything. Why would you say I said that? He's saying, we're going to see over time what Vladimir Putin does here. I'm not convinced necessarily that this one meeting is going to change anything. That flash of anger, I think, shows that Biden is very sensitive to the idea that he's been snowed under in any way, or he's naive in any way about Vladimir Putin and his intentions. So this is very much a first step here in Geneva, and Biden says the proof is in the pudding, and we'll see where it goes from here. Guys.
Well, Mike, we're finally looking at, presidential performance on foreign policy. And, President Joe Biden talked about, this is really just about reestablishing relationships and setting the tone. And he said, overall, everything was positive. What do you, what's your take on some of these key items that they mentioned?
Well, when Putin was asked about cyber attacks on U.S. institutions, he flipped the question and started talking about cyber attacks against the Russians. And when he was asked about Russian politics, specifically his political opponents who keep ending up dead or with long prison terms, he even flipped that question back to the U.S. and he brought up disorder and destruction that followed George Floyd's murder. And then he talked about the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol. Mm-hmm. And, it feels like Putin didn't really give a lot of direct answers. I don't really feel like Joe Biden gained any ground, but it does feel like Biden is trying to play the long game here. And when you look at just the relationships of leaders in the West with Putin in general, I mean, Putin's a gangster. It's not going to be easy to really gain any ground on this guy when you really look at how he operates. So all in all, I think that there wasn't more for Joe Biden to expect from this meeting. So in that way, I would say that it went well. I just think that this is going to have to continue to evolve, and Joe Biden is going to have to be as firm as he can possibly be as we move forward.
Yeah, I would agree with you on a few points there. I clearly you're referencing Putin's press conference. I think it was a good strategy to have two separate press conferences, where back in 2018, when we had 45, it was a joint press conference, and that got kind of weird. It was awkward. And I think, having Putin standing alongside of Biden, it really sets the tone and establishes authority that otherwise should not be given to Russia. So I think, a few things happened. It was, really showing that America is taking a strong stance and reclaiming really a strong leadership position and kind of checking and putting Russia in their place. I would agree 100% that, Joe Biden is playing the long game here, and as he should, because, Putin, like you said, he's a former KBG. He's not to be played with, and he doesn't play fair, and he doesn't play by, American rules. So, anybody who's running against Putin, I saw a clip on social media that, anybody who's running against him is either poisoned, killed, in jail. So, yeah, I mean, you have to take a stand. You have to take any stance that you can. But one thing that a lot of press did report on is that, President Putin showed up on time, whereas he had President Obama waiting for him 45 minutes late. So he's showing up, on time for the meeting, which is a sign of respect. Putin has been quoted that he said that President Biden is balanced and professional, and that it's clear that he has a lot of experience. And so I think that President Biden went in there with his A game. I think he, did not acquiesce. And, and lastly, Mike, what are your thoughts about President Biden? I kept the clip in at the end where it addresses President Biden kind of snapping at the journalist at the end. I don't know if you got a chance to see that small clip. We didn't play it, guys. We didn't play that. This has been like so thoroughly covered, but there is a moment where President Biden turns back and he's like, hey, that's not what I said. And he gets a little snappy. What's your take on that? And then, just this conversation as a whole.
Well, I would say that, this is Biden at his best. Like, if we want to look at just like the different aspects that comes into being the president, having a measured approach, having the ability to actually engage in politics efficiently and position yourself to play a long game. These are things that Joe Biden has proven that he can do as a politician. So I think that, he snapped on that reporter because he's saying, yo, don't put words in my mouth, because he knows how important this conversation was. And he knew that even if he wasn't going to, quote unquote, gain ground, he had to set the tone. And even like bigger than snapping on that reporter was that idea where he made those comments about the oil, where like, it's one of those, it's not an overt threat, but it's definitely a threat. Like, you know what I mean? So he's playing the game and he's trying to play it meticulously. So he doesn't want the press to kind of overstep and misconstrue anything that he's saying. So I appreciate that he sees that importance. And I'm even looking in the comments. I wouldn't even compare anything that our presidents are doing through the CIA to what Putin is doing, because this is blatant. Putin isn't covert. Like, it's clear. The people who oppose him politically end up jailed. Their supporters end up jailed. A lot of them end up dead and poisoned. Like, these aren't secrets. It's not covert missions. Like, they know what the game is in Russia. Like, he's the real deal. So you have to, there's a certain way that you have to deal with him. And I'm glad that Joe Biden, he's not rolling over. We're not seeing with 45. Like, it's not shenanigans. Nah, it's a really, really measured approach. And that's what we need to do when it comes to Russia.
Man, I think you hit the nail on the head. I believe that President Putin was able to puppet President Trump, former President Trump at the time. And I think that he is seeing that, while we have our criticisms of our president, we actually have someone who is a seasoned politician, and who knows the foreign policy game. And so you're not going to be able to just, kind of bid on him. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I think it was a good start. I think it sets a good tone. I think the outcomes of this meeting begins to initiate strong conversations. But to your point, you're right. President Putin did not, fully address things that we wanted to see. Is that just because it was in the press conference? Maybe there was some, more conversations that they had privately. And lastly, I feel that, while President Biden is the president, sometimes, as a journalist, we, are taught to push, and we're there to poke, prod, and get the story that we need. And he reacted, and I think in the moment, I don't think it was too hard, but I do appreciate the fact that he did come back and he said, you know what, I need to apologize for my actions. I was being a wise guy. But I don't think he was wrong in going back and correcting. And I think, in fact, the journalist was probably like, dang, the president snapped on me.
Well, Biden's not that guy. I don't think that journalists expected Biden to do that. But when you look at the relationship that the media just had with the last president over those years, I think that it's different having Biden snap because it's more out of character for him. And he often engages with the media and he'll answer the questions. And, we can debate about the content in it, but he participates and he's really presidential about how he addresses the media and the access that he gives to media. So because of those things, I think that he gets a lot more leeway. But one thing too that I was just kind of thinking, just kind of putting pieces together, Donald Trump was kind of a jerk on just on the world stage when it comes to foreign policy. You look at how he treated leaders of other countries. So it just kind of made it seem like who's really going to be our ally, who's going to have our back. But with Biden in office, and now that he's repairing all of these relationships, it does make me curious, as to, is this why Putin is going to have to kind of switch and start kind of giving more respect? Because, we're going to have more people ready to come to bat for us right now, just off the strength of our president is more liked than our last one was.
And to Tracy's point in the comments, she said Biden isn't a pushover. Don't sleep on him. I think we actually got to see a very strong version of President Biden on the world stage. And so, kudos to him. It was a good look. There was, I don't think there was any bad press to be told there. So, and also, Andrew, you're right that I think Rachel Scott, is that the Black journalist who came at Putin? I believe so. She had like a red outfit on. That is the clip that I saw on social media, and she definitely handed it to him. And he didn't answer any of her questions. He went around it. So thank you for that. So you guys go pull that clip. All right, we're going to move on to our next story, you guys. This is a day of celebration. Juneteenth is now a federal holiday. And, I just got a text message that we're, due to it being so quick, we won't be off tomorrow, but we're going to honor it on Monday. So I'll take that. But yeah, President Biden signed legislation to make Juneteenth a federal holiday today in a White House ceremony. He said that the holiday doesn't just celebrate the past, it calls for action today. And signing the act would be one of the greatest honors he would have as president. Let's go ahead and take a look.
We can't rest till the promise of equality is fulfilled for every one of us in every corner of this nation. That, to me, is the meaning of Juneteenth. That's what it's about. So let's make this very Juneteenth, tomorrow, the first that our nation will celebrate all together as one nation. A Juneteenth of action on many fronts. One of those is vaccinations. Tomorrow, the Vice President will be in Atlanta on a bus tour helping to spread the word, like all of you have been doing, on life-saving vaccines. And across the country this weekend, including here in Washington, people will be canvassing and hosting events in their communities, going door to door, encouraging vaccinations. We've built equity into the heart of the vaccination program from day one, but we still have more work to do to close the racial gap in vaccination rates. The more we can do that, the more we can save lives. Today also marks the 6th anniversary of the tragic deaths at Mother Emanuel Church in Charleston, South Carolina. A killer, motivated by hate, intending to start a race war in South Carolina. He joined his victims in a Bible study class. Then he took their lives in a house of worship. It's a reminder that our work to root out hate never ends, because hate only hides. It never fully goes away, it hides. And when you breathe oxygen under that rock, it comes out. That's what we must understand, that Juneteenth represents not only the commemoration of the end of slavery in America more than 150 years ago, but the ongoing work to have to bring true equity and racial justice into American society, which we can do. In short, this day doesn't just celebrate the past. It calls for action today. I wish all Americans a happy Juneteenth. I'm certainly in a moment, going to sign into law, making it a federal holiday. And I have to say to you, I've only been president for several months, but I think this will go down for me as It's one of the greatest honors I will have had as president, not because I did it, you did it, Democrats and Republicans, but it's an enormous, enormous honor.
Well, big day, big day. This is the first federal holiday established since MLK Day back in 1983. Is this enough? Is this throwing Black folk a bone, or can we get excited about this?
Yeah, I mean, y'all. I'm trying to figure how I really want to approach this. Look, yes, we get a day off. Yay. I mean, I'm happy. I'll take the day off. I don't go to work on MLK Day, but I mean, am I excited to see white folks gentrify Juneteenth? Not really. I mean, it's our holiday. And he did a lot of talking, and not enough of that talking was about slavery for him to be addressing Juneteenth. He said that we can't rest until the promise of equity is fulfilled for every one of us. And that's what Juneteenth means to him. I don't think that that's what Juneteenth means to me. I don't look at Juneteenth as a everything, as a all of us. This is Black. This is a Black holiday. Don't erase the Blackness. Like Mama Harriet just said, pay the fee. Like, if you really care, you really want to do something, pay the fee. But that's not what we're talking about. I also don't understand how the Juneteenth speech went into vaccinations. Vaccination is not a Black issue.
Right.
I don't even know if it's an American issue. It's a global, worldwide health issue. It's not about us. If every Black person in America got vaccinated tomorrow, we wouldn't have herd immunity in America. Like, we would still be in the same place. Like, it doesn't help us. So, like, don't bring vaccination into the Juneteenth conversation. I don't like when white folks co-opt our things and then diminish the actual meaning of it. There was a story that ran in Vice where a historian was like doing research on the history of slavery in America and found that there were slaves in America, Black folks, slaves, until 1963. Until 1963. I'm just letting y'all sit with that. Like, these is facts. Like, and this same historian will like do family histories for people, and for Black people like me who are descendants from American slavery, our family histories always go back to literal receipts, like actual receipts where our ancestors were bought and sold on the same piece of paper with horses and cows and chickens and shit. Like, that and one Negro man with a first name. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So it's hard for me to understand Juneteenth, especially with my mom's family being from Texas. And then he gets up and makes this speech, and he like just took it to all lives matter, in my opinion. And that's not what it is, man. This is Black. Like, stop turning Black stuff into BIPOC stuff. Stop turning Black stuff into everybody's stuff. Like, let Black folks have stuff. But I'll take that day off.
Lord.
For sure.
I think this is a win. I celebrate Juneteenth anyway. And so now I think it's important that we get to honor this day in history of, emancipation, which was already, observed here in the District of Columbia. But it's important. And, there's a lot of really good celebrations. It's something that, around this time, we all kind of get together, and there's, festivals and things like that. So I don't mind expressing this with people outside of us, right? And so I think this is a good stepping stone. This is a good step in the right direction. And do I have my eyebrow raised at Joe Biden? Not with this. I honestly really feel that this is a genuine approach to reach the Black community. And it's a way to honor and recognize that, this is a piece of our history when our, the people who wrote history back in the day left this out. And so it's important that we put this into the history books. Putting this as a federal holiday begins to etch this in stone. And so I'm actually, this is a good moment. I'm going to take this win and celebrate, and it's like Independence Day. It's, I mean, I don't want to celebrate if we're going to celebrate 4th of July, we damn well should celebrate Juneteenth, right? And so it is a way at continuing to demonstrate what our American history truly is. And it's Emancipation Day,
I
so
feel you, Julia. But listen, what about this though? Because he said that his words, this is a Juneteenth of action.
Mm-hmm.
What action? Like, where's the action? Like, he didn't say, "Oh, this is a day off for Black people." Nah, man, this is just, I don't know. Okay, I feel you. I mean, I don't want to harp on it. I don't see the action.
I mean, we had a Black president for 8 years, and he didn't make it a federal holiday.
Hey, you know how I felt about that guy, and when I call him Black,
wait a minute, Mike.
I'm just saying, this is a perfect example, though. We're talking about Juneteenth, and you want to talk about President Obama. Neither one of President Obama's parents were Black Americans. He's not a descendant of American slavery. I don't think that Juneteenth means to Obama what it means to me. My great grandma picked cotton, literally. She picked cotton in Texas. So when what Juneteenth means to me and what it means to an Obama or Vice President Harris, it's not going to be the same thing because they don't have the same ancestry and the same history as me. So yes, I do understand what Biden is trying to do. I think that he's a really, really good politician. I've always said that. That was a good speech, and I think that it's going to go over well. But I'm just, I'm always going to scrutinize, and I'm always going to dig a little deeper, and I always try to connect as many dots as I can. And it would have been nice if the action wasn't just a day off, if he could have actually threw the Black community a bone. I mean, and then he said, this is something that Democrats and Republicans did together. I'm glad that they gave us the Juneteenth holiday together. I would be even happier if they gave us voting rights together. You know what I'm saying? That would have done more for us, but y'all can have it. I'm with y'all. Let's celebrate. I'm down for the barbecue. I barbecue on the 4th, even though I don't really care for that holiday. Give me any reason to barbecue and I'm going to do it. So, it is what it is.
Well, I would say this. I understand your skepticism here, and you're right. There much more action must be done to continue to undo systemic racism and Jim Crow and all of that. I mean, we have a very savage history here in America for African Americans, and we have to combat that. We have to tackle that, and we have to undo that. But please believe this is huge. This is huge. I mean,
Dr. Jackson is getting at me in the chat right now. Oh, Doctor, why are you coming for me like this, Dr. Jackson? I gave him credit. I gave him credit.
Credit where credit's due. Listen, y'all, go out there and celebrate Juneteenth. This is it's a great celebration. Learn more about the history, celebrate Black culture and everything that it means to us. Black, white, green, blue, Asian, red, go out there, celebrate, get the cookout, learn how to do the electric slide and the Cupid shuffle. You know what I'm saying? Let's just get out there and have a good time and enjoy the day off. Shout out to President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris and the rest of our lawmakers who actually made this happen. And so, to not have a federal holiday, we get another day off, bro. This is
I'm happy with that.
Dismiss. Listen, I'm here for this win. I'm here for this good win. And I think everybody else is. Speaking of wins, Megan Thee Stallion dropped a new video for her new single, Thoughts. This is really an ode to her haters. The video is most definitely just outrageous. It's so direct. It is very Megan Thee Stallion. And basically, it's clapping back at the criticism she received from conservatives following the release of WAP. And we won't explain the acronym. You guys put your heads together. But
are we going to show the video?
No, we cannot show that video. You guys go check out the video yourself. Somebody dropped the name.
Cuddy dropped the link. You got to drop the link.
Yeah, go look at the video. Really, I love the cinematography on the video. I'll say that. But the video basically snagged the attention of internet troll and unsuccessful Republican candidate Deanna Lorraine, who ran, you know, to get Nancy Pelosi's seat of all people. So let's take a look at what she said on this podcast, child, and come back and talk about it.
You know, Megan Thee Stallion's latest video, she's referring to potentially me because we feuded in the past with her videos like WAP, but probably just the conservative political commentators on a whole that have called her out for her music videos and her outrageous, degrading songs in the past. So if I were to run again for office, I would say, look, we need to actually have better music and better examples, positive role models in our media, in our movies, and especially our music, because young people listen to music so much. Well, I got the whole army of Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B after me. There's thousands of text messages, phone calls, emails, Instagram messages, you name it, coming after me, telling me to die, kill myself, jump off a cliff. I'm this horrible racist. So many different messages threatening to kill me. They were coming after my house. They knew my address. And actually, I still get a lot of those messages too. So I feel threatened. You know, I worry sometimes that they're going to come after me, or they really will find my address and kill me or do something terrible to me. And that's a shame, because I'm trying to help these people, help them to see that they could be more than just their WAP. I'm trying to help them realize that there's a positive way to be successful in society that doesn't mean selling your body on the streets and getting that money. But they don't really care. They're going to listen to the Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion no matter what. And it's not going to stop me from standing up from what I believe in, which is that this music is garbage, and we need to do better for our youth. We need to do better for our culture.
Girl, shut up.
What does she mean by these people?
Girl, you know what she meant. Girl, shut up. Shut up. First of all, she's a major clout chaser, just super clout chase. I did a little bit of research on her, and she's been posting YouTube videos for like over 10 years. Like, she's a straight troll. She's come after Meg. She's come after Cardi. She's come after Nicki. Like, you're clearly targeting some of the strongest Black women with the largest platforms ever. And who are you to say that a woman can't use her body to get what she wants? The sex trade is a huge industry, and it should be respected. And if I want to do what I want to do with my WAP, I will very much do that. So, girl, fall back, girl. I hate when people say that music is poisoning the youth and we need to have better this and better that. Guess what? It's not an artist's responsibility to make sure that your kids listen to something that doesn't have explicit language or behaviors. They have social media, okay, in all forms. They have the internet in all forms. Do you think these kids, there's so much more explicit music that's not just from Cardi and Megan. So she can speak out until she turns blue in the face, but I mean, you're gonna go after every single creative if you feel like you need to criticize. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, I would say she was just playing to her base. She has no base because she hasn't been elected to anything. She's just a person
Baseless.
Yelling on the internet. Also, the idea that Meg is selling her body on the streets, I couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, duh. I don't even know how to address that. Like, she's not on the streets doing anything. Also, look, man, music is art, and art represents the culture. This is a culture that she's not a part of. I don't even understand why she's speaking on it. I would parse through the music in her culture, but I don't know what it is. Yeah, because that's not my lane. So I don't understand why people always feel the need to come over here and critique what we're doing. Why is what we're doing so offensive to you? And why do you not have the ability to keep your children away from it? It's probably because your children love Black culture, but you know, it's because Black culture is brilliant. So, I mean, she could keep talking and talking and talking. It's meaningless. It's a great video. Great video. I'm sure her kids have seen it.
Well, and that's what the video is about, right? The video is an ode to all the people who are like, I really hate your music, but I'll sit back and listen to it, cherry pick it, write down all the lyrics I don't like, just so I can come back and clap back at it. I don't remember who it was, but last week, or maybe last week or the week before, someone in the comments was talking about rock music and heavy metal and how there was so much scrutiny on that. Like, I couldn't name any rock artist or any heavy metal artist, and I grew up in Seattle, right? And so I wouldn't know exactly what would be there, but they basically said the same thing. Like, we were criticized, like people were coming after us over that. So I think when it comes down to creativity and art, like you just have to fall back. That's not a stance that I think is very strong. This girl, Deanna, we just gonna call her Deanna. Deanna is just a straight troll. She's banned and suspended from Twitter right now for basically pushing the Stop the Steal campaign. She has like so much salacious content on her Instagram. She's an anti-vaxxer. She's just spreading, false information. She did have a funny interaction with Cardi B, where she tweeted that, Cardi B would, drugged and robbed men during her time as a stripper. She raps about her genitalia, which is corrupting the youth. Her husband cheated on her, and she told the youth of America that it's okay to stay with a cheating man. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris campaigned with her. And then she also made mention that more people need to be like Melania Trump. Well, child, Cardi B took that and posted Melania Trump when she posed nude and just put two little emojis over the nips and said, "This looks like the vibe of a girl with a WAP with a WAP." So maybe we do need more girls like Melania Trump who get out there and show it all. You know what I'm saying? I have nothing against that. Women, do what you want to do, and men, do what you want to do too. Like I think we just can't scrutinize someone's choice to show their naked body. If they want to show their body, if they want to be a stripper, I mean, have you not been to a strip club? It's great entertainment. Okay.
Yeah.
Them girls are talented.
Can we also add though that, Meg has a college degree? If we're just keeping it real. I mean, I'm not even that matters, but like the idea of saying that she's selling her body on the streets, like, nah, she went to school, she got a degree, and then she became highly successful, and she makes good music. She's an artist. Like, I mean, if you don't understand our culture, you should probably just back up. I'll make sure that my kids don't listen to this lady.
Yeah, listen,
she's crazy.
You have, as a parent, you're going to censor your kids from things that you don't think they're ready for, but you get to a point where you have to present the world to them, and otherwise the world is going to swallow them whole. And Leon, you're right, I did take it a little too far there, brother. I'm going to walk. But
I understand where you're coming from, though. I do understand where you're coming from.
Listen, I mean, I love Meg Thee Stallion. She's one of the best, if not the best female rapper right now. One of the best rappers, period. If I, put her against some of the men in the industry, but they should continue to come out with this music. They're not the first, and they're not going to be the last. I mean, music continues to get more and more explicit. It is a lot, but it starts. You don't hear it. You only really hear the cut stuff when you're in the car with your grandma.
It's a reflection of the culture at the end of the day. Like, it goes hand in hand. So yeah, you have to parent your kids also. Like, I don't know who these kids are that are just out here consuming this that aren't allowed to, but I mean, you're the parent. I assume you buy the device. I assume you pay that Wi-Fi bill. You should probably take some more responsibility over what your kid is consuming.
Exactly. Well, real quick, before we take a break, let's go ahead and talk about Space Jam 2, the new legacy with LeBron James starring in the role of Michael Jordan in the 1996 movie. The soundtrack artists have been released. This is one of my favorite soundtracks. Let's go ahead and play that clip and come back.
What's up, Doc?
I want to talk to you. Just
Rated PG.
In theaters July 16th. This is a heavy hit, man. Like, I remember when Space Jam came out, that was like one of those soundtracks. You had the CD player, you was getting it listening, scratched up on repeat. So I love this. Shout out to Big Frida. We got Big Frida on there.
Man, I'm in New Orleans right now. Shout out to Big Frida and Lil Wayne. Look, I couldn't be more excited. I mean, I can't wait for Space Jam. I mean, the first one meant so much to me. I had to show it to the kids, and I mean, I can't wait.
Me either. And LeBron James is actually a really good actor, so I'm excited to see him in that role. There's so many. What's her name? She slipped my mind. Zendaya.
Cash Doll.
Oh. Zendaya's in there. Zendaya's in the cast, so she's playing Lola Bunny. So I'm excited to see her in that role. Man, this is gonna be good. Rado, I don't know. Space Jam will always be Michael Jordan. No.
Man, you gotta pass the torch. The torch has to be passed. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes.
Michael Jordan's old ass in Space Jam 2. I want to see him make a cameo, but he can't be the lead. He can't be the lead. It's not happening.
Plus, it's a cartoon. They're marketing this to the kids. These kids, they don't know Michael Jordan, man. Michael Jordan don't mean nothing to them.
Yeah, no, sorry. Well, look, y'all, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we have to talk about something that's been spicing up the news. Lots of controversy on critical race theory. Let's talk about it.
Converge Media produces culturally relevant content for Black and urban audiences. Our coverage is raw, transparent, and objective, praised by community leaders, government officials, and residents. Support Converge Media today via Venmo, Cash App, or PayPal at Converge Media.
Hey, it's Jake from Converge Media and Get the F Outside. I hope that all of you are taking advantage of the ability to be outdoors and enjoy nature as our summer months heat up. One other thing that you can take advantage of here in the King County area are free COVID-19 vaccinations. There's all kinds of options for pop-up clinics, and the vaccine is able to be administered to anyone 12 years and older. And did I mention that it's free? You don't need insurance, and they don't care what your citizenship status is. And that kind of sounds like the way things should be anyhow, but we'll save that for another conversation. Information and resources are available at kingcounty.gov/COVID, or you can call the COVID-19 call center at 206-477-3977. Washington, we are almost out of this, but we got to stay locked in for the home stretch. Let's get vaxxed out so we can max out our time with friends, family, and in the great outdoors.
Outside. The backyard got mountains in it. I do not move until my accountant finish. Big mason jars, each one an ounce of spinach. You only see results, the real work ain't documented. Now what's realer than that? My drive is so crazy, I might speed a flat.
All right. Out. Look, y'all, we outside. Max out. Vax out.
We're getting close over here in Seattle. I could say, I don't know about y'all, but we're on the right path over here.
Well, the mayor has set a goal to get another 300,000. So there's a big rollout plan here. She invested a lot of money, but we'll see. I mean, at this point, I don't know, bro.
Hey, you right.
It's whatever. But look, we have a topic I want to bring to you guys. We don't have much time. We appreciate y'all rolling with us.
Big topic.
I hope we can cover this, Mike. So the topic of critical race theory has exploded in the public arena, especially as it pertains to K-12 schools, where numerous state legislatures are debating whether or not they want to ban this from the classrooms. It's intense. It's an intense conversation. Let's play the clip. We'll come back and talk about it.
A closer look at controversial academic movement. The critical race theory movement in the headlines as Florida becomes the latest state to ban schools from teaching about systemic racism. ABC's Zachary Quiche is here with more. Good morning to you, Zachary.
Eva, good morning to you as well. It's really a way of looking at the world. It's a lens that acknowledges the role that racism plays. But critics will argue because it's both complex and because it's been politicized, instead of being used as a way of re-examining or reframing the past, it's being used as a tool to accentuate a cultural divide. This morning, critical race theory, a term originally used to broaden how we think about the past, is being used by some to define the racial divide in our schools.
Critical race theory comes out of the legal field. It's been conceptualized over 40 years ago by scholars such as Kimberly Crenshaw, speaking specifically about how systemic racism works in the legal field.
These legal scholars argued individual intentions can't be proven, but as a framework, racism is baked into our social systems and psychology. That's the start of the conversation, they said. Last year, the New York Times 1619 Project placed the struggle of Black Americans at the center of our country's narrative. While the work gave a nod to those largely left out of the history books, it quickly became politicized. Critical race theory was the umbrella term.
This is a deliberate plan to politicize and whitewash history.
Thank you, Mr. Fraser.
Stop it.
It is sad that we are even contemplating something like critical race theory, where children will be separated by their skin color and deemed permanently oppressors or oppressed in 2021.
On Thursday, the Florida Board of Education banned critical race theory in its schools.
I think it'll cause people to think of themselves more as a member of a particular race or based on skin color, rather than based on the content of their character.
There's no national mandate saying this curriculum needs to be taught in public schools, but at least 5 Republican-led states have now officially banned the theory from public education. Last month, state AGs from 20 states told the Education Department they oppose the teachings.
What teachers have been doing is simply doing what they always do. They create magic in our classrooms. They give our students the opportunity to understand the full breadth and depth of the American society. And that is about the inception of this country. That's about our Constitution. That's about slavery. That's about Jim Crow laws. It's about the beautiful inventions that we've had. And it spans across the diaspora. And it spans across any demographic kind of divide that we may have.
People on both sides are fired up.
It absolutely needs to be taught, okay? CRT needs to be taught to avoid biases, to not repeat history.
There are racists. There always has been. They should be condemned. But I don't believe that America is a racist country.
Now, some say that education has been impacted by the moment.
We're unfortunately seeing resistance to even broach the concept of what that means in our understanding of our history and our present.
Not a new concept, some 4 decades in the making. Now, some educators argue that the controversy is manufactured and not reflective of any wholesale changes across education. All
right, Zachary Keish for us. Thank you.
Man, y'all, I didn't anticipate that we were gonna talk so long on these other topics, but critical race theory was something that Mike and I really wanted to dive deep on. Tracy, we see you in the comments. Why do we wait?
She's right. She's right.
In fact, we'll do a quick clap back, but we only got an hour. But this conversation deserves some in-depth conversation. Man, Mike, give us a quick rundown, but we're gonna bring this back next week at the top of the hour.
First, I would say, Dr. Jackson, can you drop some knowledge into the chat for us? Because I'm pretty sure you're gonna have some knowledge on this too. But my understanding of critical race theory is that, I mean, it's an examination to study laws through the lens of race. But critical theory in general is something that's taught in college. So I'm not 100% sure if cutting this out of elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, is this political posturing, or like what is the weight behind it? I read an article researching for this that was ran by ABC News that said that critical race theory wasn't even being taught in K-12 curriculum in America anyway, and that a lot of this is just, just to get people up in arms. So that's really where I would take the conversation. I mean, what really does this mean if we're not teaching it to our kids anyway?
Well, and you make a great point. Right now, it's not currently being taught in any school. And in fact, this was, an academic movement that really was taught and discussed in law schools. And it was a niche. Right. Like this was a specific kind of topic that was taught to law students and educators. So it's being politicized, and it's not currently being offered in our school system. But I think the way that a lot of these red states are reacting to it and kind of putting these bans in place already let us know where this is headed. And so sometimes you have to see people's reaction and response to this. Why wouldn't we want to be transparent about our history, be transparent about the systemic racism that exists, that has happened before, that we currently see? There's really two strong arguments to this, and I really feel like this deserves more than 4 minutes of conversation.
It does. It does.
So I'm going to save some of my thoughts, but listen, you guys, let's come back and talk about this strong next Thursday.
It will stay in the news for sure. And
that's the thing. It's been coming up. It's been popping in. My aunt actually sent me a text message about it this week, and I said, man, critical race theory is one of those things. People are like, what is critical race theory and why is it under attack?
Right.
And I think we have to really teach people that, it's a way of understanding how American racism shaped public policy. It is political.
And you're right. And I think that in those clips that we see, a lot of the people that are jumping out and making comments, they don't even know what critical race theory is. They're so stuck on like words and key terms that they're over here arguing for something that they don't even understand. And I think Dr. Jackson hit it on the head when she just confirmed, like, it is political. And I think that that's part of the reason why, like, I had kind of shied away from throwing it all in the show, because I mean, it just seems like it's political posturing, but it's here and we should talk about it. So I agree, next week we should definitely bring it back with more than 6 minutes.
Yes. So look, y'all, we spent so much time on WAP, Mike.
It's hard, it's hard to not talk about WAP. We all love it so much.
Yeah, I love a good troll. Well, look, you guys, we appreciate you guys being such loyal followers. Tracy, Drew, Chip, Dora, Leon, Rado, Onari, Mama Walden. We already know, if I didn't mention you, listen, we love you guys. We appreciate you guys coming. Mike Davis, where can they find you when you are not here on Clapback Culture with me?
You can find me at the South Seattle Emerald. Wherever you find the Emerald, you're going to find me. You could also find me on Twitter at RealMDavis.
Okay. And you guys know where to find me at Treasure of JULES on all social media platforms. Thank you for watching every single week. Pull up And, let us know, send us some stories that you want to talk about, and make sure you come back every week, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Hey, for real, y'all, make sure you pull up next week. We're going to dive into this CRT, and we're going to have a back and forth. Dr. Jackson, we're going to need you.
We're going to need
everybody else too. Yes. So please pull up. We're going to have this conversation together.
All right, y'all. That's Clapback Culture. Peace.